lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this on Wedding Chicks or over on Facebook, thank you so much for stopping by. A few weeks ago, I put a little thing at the end of my video and I asked for some questions because I really wanted to do a Q&A. And guess what? Today is Q&A day! You guys sent in a bunch of really great questions, and I know that there are multiple brides out here that have these same questions. So I'm gonna do my best to cover as many as I possibly can, as quickly as I possibly can, because if I covered them all, this would probably be a 45-minute video, and ain't nobody got time for that. I got stuff to do. I got dinner to make. I got wine to drink. I mean, I got things to do, you know? Weddings to plan, too. I guess I should throw that in there. We got a lot of weddings coming up this month, so subtle plug. If you're not following us on Instagram, do that right now, because then you can see a lot of the cool content that we are putting out there. Content. It's not content. It's weddings. Man, talking is hard. So I thought it'd be a good idea to throw together a video and cover all the things that you guys want the answers for. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. I don't know why I did that with my arms. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen at a wedding? I don't usually talk about the crazy things that happen at weddings because I never want my clients to know. Because usually we handle it and they never have to worry about it. But for the sake of this video, some of the craziest things I've seen. I think when I stop to think about it, most of them just involves drunk people. Drunk people walking into things, drunk people breaking things, drunk people needing to leave the premises. We had one gal walk into a cactus and then spent 45 minutes pulling spines out of her leg, which was awful. Poor thing. I felt so bad for her. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the craziest things I've seen. Someone attempting to hug a cactus. What is the best resource for finding wedding venues? Insider tip, Google. I use Google a lot. There are a gazillion wedding venues. So oftentimes, if a client comes to me and needs help looking for a venue, I will turn to Google. If I don't find any good resources there, I will then turn to wedding websites like Wedding Chicks, The Knot, Wedding Wire, and see if I can find something that fits their aesthetic and their vibe and their price range there as well. And my last and most secretive resource, that's not going to be so secretive anymore because, you know, a couple thousand people are going to watch this video, is Facebook groups. That's the #1 place, I think, that you should go when you're looking for a wedding venue, because not only will you have access to a bunch of different vendors, but you'll have access to brides as well who are just dying to share information and share the gems that they've found. So if you're looking for a wedding venue, try Google, try wedding websites, and when in doubt, try word of mouth in Facebook groups. What information should a bride and or groom have prepared when meeting with a wedding planner? That's a great question. I would say not a whole lot. A good wedding planner will glean all of that information out of you. They will know the information they need to know, but there are a couple things that you really should have in place before meeting with someone. #1, your budget. You know me, budget's very important because a planner needs to know within what parameters is he or she going to work. #2, your overall style, aesthetic. What do you want your wedding to look like? That can help to narrow down venue locations. That can help to pick out florists. That can help to decipher whether you need a lounge or not. And then #3, what are some of the most important parts of the wedding day? What do you want the guest experience to be like? What do you want your experience to be like? Just kind of think through some of those things, but don't worry, if you're meeting with a good planner, they should ask all the right questions, and you should probably already know those answers, so they'll get all the information out of you. I wouldn't stress too much about having too much prepared before you meet with a planner. Unless you're trying to figure out what questions you should ask a planner, and then, you know, I did a video on that, so I'm gonna link that down below for you guys to go ahead and take a look at all the questions that you should ask for finding the perfect planner. And then #4, this sweet bride asked me, what do you do when you just want to give up and the idea of eloping sounds better and better each minute? Take a break. Take a breather. Step back. Stop wedding planning. Stop the presses. Do not do anything for the next 24 to 72 hours if you can. Now, I don't mean like not do anything like you still got to go to work and you got to feed yourself and stuff, but ignore wedding planning. Like, just to maintain your sanity, you have to stop every once in a while. Go on a date, have a girls' night, get your nails done, do something, anything that is not related to wedding planning, just for a little bit. And then, when you're about to dive back in, remind yourself why you're doing this. You're doing it because you are marrying the love of your life and you want to throw a really rad party. So anytime something kind of gets in the way or starts to make you second guess some of your choices or starts to make you stress out, be sure to take breaks and walk away as often as you need to. Question #5. A lot of people don't like cake. Now, in the video that I did, it was like 12 things that your guests don't give a flying fart in space about. I talked about how guests don't care about the cake, and I've received a little bit of flack for that. So, I will say that there are a number of people who do enjoy cake. Just gonna put that disclaimer out there. I'm just saying, if you want your guests to enjoy dessert to the fullest, perhaps offer a myriad of options. Perhaps offer a myriad of options. A dessert table with cookies and brownies and cupcakes instead of just one large tiered cake. Don't hate on me in the comments for saying a lot of people don't like cake. Sorry. Number 6, my sweet Katya asked this question. Katya, hi. Thanks for always making me laugh in your comments. She asked, how do you keep kids entertained at weddings? And as a mom and as a wedding planner, I should probably make an entire video on how to do this, but I'm gonna give you a couple of quick tips. Make sure it's not messy, sticky, or sugary. That's it. Just, if you want to have a coloring station, great. Do it with crayons, not markers. Please don't give my child a marker, especially if they're wearing a pale pink dress. 2, don't give them stickers. Try to stay away from glue and glitter or anything like that. Coloring books are really entertaining. That's something that they can walk around with. They can go sit on their parents' lap and kind of doodle throughout the ceremony and reception. A trail mix bar is always fun, or some sort of snack, kid-friendly snack that the adults can enjoy as well, or lawn games. Lawn games can keep kids entertained for at least 45 seconds, which is much longer than most of the toys that we own. How do you do a sparkler exit when your photographer won't be there until the end of the reception? There's a couple different options for this. 1, don't do one. Just don't do one. Or 2, do one without photos and have friends and family take a bunch of pictures. Or 3, stage it for earlier in the evening before your photographer leaves. If you are really, really hellbent on having a sparkler photo, I for sure was, then I suggest that you do a staged exit. When you still have a bunch of people there before the party gets too thin, get everybody lined up in 2 rows, get the sparklers lit, and get that shot so you can make sure that you have that photo to treasure forever and ever. Amen. I happen to love our sparkler exit photo. If I can find one, I'll go ahead and put it in here. They're just some of my favorite photos, and I'm super glad that we took the time away from the dance floor when we still had enough guests to make that happen. So if you run the risk of not being able to have your sparkler exit photographed, then try doing it earlier in the evening. But just make sure the DJ makes an announcement that the party is not over and guests are asked to return afterwards, because you probably will lose some people at that point. And if you're okay with that, then okay. Number 8, what are your thoughts on online? What are your thoughts on online RSVPs? I love them. I love online RSVPs. Why do I love them? Because 1, that means you're not sending out an RSVP card, which is more cost because it's paper. And 2, you're not spending money on a stamp and a return envelope. And 3, when you use an online RSVP system, it automatically tracks all of those RSVPs for you. So you don't have to take the paper and then type it into a tracker. It's already there for you. Sometimes you might run into instances with people who are unaware or unable to use a wedding website, and that's when a quick phone call will suffice. How can I make setup and teardown easier for my family and friends? It was a fantastic question. I'm so glad. I don't remember who asked this, but I'm so glad you did. The best way that you can make it easier on your family and friends is be obscenely organized. And I mean, like, have a list for everything. And if you can, have a map of your venue and then a detailed list for where everything goes on the map, because that will help with setup and it will help with teardown. Make sure you have clearly labeled boxes, like here are centerpieces 1 through 4. Pro tip, if your centerpieces are more complicated, take a picture of them and put it on the side of each of the boxes. That way, when your friends and family are setting up, they have a reference to go off of and they're not flying blind. What is the average cost of a wedding planner? I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I had like a good, clear answer to give you guys, but there isn't one, because you could get someone who is just month of coordination, who may meet with you once, maybe twice, maybe 5 times, run your rehearsal, and then be there anywhere from 8 to 12 hours on your wedding day. Or you can get someone who plans every single detail for you, schedules your dress fittings, plans your rehearsal dinner, plans your engagement party. That end of the spectrum can be anywhere from $16,000 to $30,000 for the wedding planner alone. Or day of coordination, or month of coordination as I like to call it, because I feel like it's a lot more practical of a term, because no planner just shows up on your wedding day. Could be as little as $500 in my area. So it just depends on what you're looking for, so be sure to do your research. How do you feel about fake flowers? Guys, I wish that I could tell you that I liked them. I don't like fake flowers. For the ones that are affordable, they just look really fake. Oh, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with this, and that's okay, but you're asking for my personal opinion on it, and I'm just not a huge fan of them. I don't find them to be a whole lot more cost effective, and I don't find them to be more attractive than real flowers. So if you're considering doing your own florals, then I would suggest going wholesale and getting real flowers instead. Sometimes you find some good ones, so like, don't jump down my throat about this. Sometimes you can find some good ones, but you want my opinion? I would go real. Sorry. How do you feel about wedding expos? I feel that wedding expos are a fun experience. I feel like it's really fun to go and drink free champagne and talk to a bunch of vendors who want you to hire them. But I also feel like they're extremely stressful and not always fruitful. It's a good experience. You may find one or two vendors and they will probably be fantastic, but you don't go to a wedding expo expecting to plan your entire wedding from start to finish. What are your destination wedding planning tips? So many people ask this question, so I should probably make an entire video about it, but the one tip that I'm gonna give you is lean on people in that area. Hire a planner from that area, lean on your venue to give you preferred vendors, whatever you can do to make sure that you are sourcing people from that location and not flying people in. Do that, because one, it'll save you money, and two, it'll save you time. What is your biggest wedding pet peeve? It's not even a pet peeve. It's just like, I just wish people would know this. How about that? What's the one thing you want people to know about wedding days? I have a hard time with people who are not professionals doing what a wedding professional normally does. Their hearts are in the right place. They're fantastic humans. They're doing a great job. They just don't know how a wedding day works. And in my experience, 9 times out of 10, they don't do all of the things an actual wedding vendor normally would. That means it pulls me away from being the coordinator that I need to be. So instead of making sure your reception starts on time, I'm talking to the DJ who forgot to bring a microphone and brought a book of CDs with him for the reception and trying to figure out how to fix this, and then the reception starts late. It's not a pet peeve. It's just, I wish that people knew that there is a big difference between a club DJ and a wedding DJ. I actually made a whole video about this. Again, I'll link that down below. Check that out. I love Friendors. They're just not the same thing. And they make my job harder most of the time. I'm sorry. What is your favorite part about a wedding? I'm gonna be honest. I still cry at almost every single wedding. I do. I just get so attached to the couples that I work with. I would have to say that my favorite part of the wedding is the first dance. I cry during almost every single first dance, and it's just such a powerful moment to watch them come together as a couple and spend a few moments together just quietly swaying back and forth to one of their favorite songs. It gets me every time. What's the craziest thing that you've had to do at a wedding? I do a lot of things at weddings. I could probably fill a whole video of things that I do at weddings. I had to transport a 3-tier cake on my lap on a dirt road. And when I say dirt road, I don't mean like it's dirt, but it's smooth. There were potholes, and it was in the middle of the desert, and the road was like, it was insanity. So I actually was a nursing mom at the time, so I took my nursing cover and put it over me and held this 3-tier cake on my lap. On my lap, y'all. Like, oh, for the love. And my assistant drove my car as slowly as possible, and I had to use my arms as like shocks to make sure nothing happened, but hold it out far enough so it didn't hit me, and then it didn't ruin the cake and all that. Oh, so it just, if I can find the picture of this, I will totally put it in right here. That is the craziest thing I've ever had to do. And by the time we got to where the cake needed to be, my arms were shaking so badly. It was about 15 minutes of pure torture, feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna ruin this cake. I'm gonna ruin it. It's gonna be totally smeared all over the front of me, and I can't, oh my gosh. So that's probably the craziest thing, or one of the craziest things I've had to do at a wedding. I'm sure there's a bunch more, but that's the first one that comes to mind. So that's all we have for today, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know this video was random. I know it was a bunch of like a hodgepodge things just kind of tossed down together, but these are questions that a lot of you have been asking, so I'm really, really happy that I was able to sit down and address quite a few of them. If you have more and they weren't addressed, drop them in the comments below. And if you are not already following us on social media, please do that. Please give us a follow. I love connecting with you guys outside of the YouTube sphere. Is that a thing? As always, a huge shout out to my gal pals over at Wedding Chicks for hosting this video. And until next week, bye guys.